Hi,
Cool.
everyone. Greetings from Webster University in Tashkent. Thank you for joining us for this event, and I promise it's going to be a memorable one because today we have a very special guest. I'm pleased and I'm honored to introduce you, a leadership coach, people development leader, and purpose officer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dennis Masoud.
Thank you, Shokista. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody in this session where we will have 1 hour and I will provide some insights and call it a lecture about career success, what I find important to pursue career success, and some ideas on, well, let's say provide a structure to land your dream job once you're ready. Okay, so the objective of today, provide you with inspiration and insights for you as a student, and I believe most of you are close to start what we call embarking upon your career, right? So you're going to finish your college or university perhaps next year already or the year after. So let's have a look at 3 big steps that you can take, that you can follow to prepare and find your job, preferably your dream job. And again, I will also share some of the, well, let's say my personal view on what career success is. That's the setting for today. So we have 1 hour. I'm trying to keep it up to 50 minutes, 50. And then we will have 10 minutes left for Q&A. That will be a live Q&A if you want to. Obviously, there's always an availability for you to log a question using the Q&A or the chat function. I cannot promise you that I will be able to answer them immediately, but this session is recorded, so Shokista and I will make sure that afterwards, if there's a question we cannot address, or I don't know the answer yet, that I can come back via Shokista to you. Okay, having said that, a little bit about myself. Shokista did a very nice introduction, so I will keep this really brief. The source of my passion. Okay, I was muted, Shokista. Now I'm not anymore. Okay. Oh, this is going wrong. Is somebody using my screen as well, Shokista?
No.
Okay, because I was muted. So, okay, never mind. So the source of the fuel of my passion to help people champion themselves while working together so that they live a meaning and full life. I'm 53 years old. I live in Amsterdam. I say greetings from Amsterdam because that's where I am now. I live in the Netherlands, obviously, and I work for Oracle Digital. The line of business, Oracle Digital Technology EMEA, and that's basically a sales organization within the big Oracle company, and we take care of, well, let's say in EMEA, virtually all our commercial and public sector customers in the mid-market to lower upper market segment. So it's an inside sales organization, so to speak. So we work based out of hubs. Well, today, not really, because most of the people work from home in Western Europe today, but normally we work out of hubs in sales teams. And what I do, I help these sales reps and sales managers to develop themselves, to learn new things, to, let's say, call it enablement, where I help them to improve themselves in work and making things better and helping them to be successful. Next to that, I also have a very small company outside of Oracle where I do very limited coaching activities, life coaching, career coaching, and sales coaching. Now, I'm very passionate about personal development, spirituality. I'm very passionate. I'd like to travel, as many others, although that is currently completely gone. And I'm a big fan of the most fantastic soccer club in the world, which is Ajax Amsterdam. So enough about me. Let's move on. So how to find your dream job? That's a big question, right? And the idea is not that there's not just one single answer, so to speak, but well, you're close to graduating, you're close to finishing college, and you're thinking about your career and your first, let's say, serious job, and you don't know. And that's totally okay, right? So you worry about, I don't know what I want to do. I do not have an answer yet. How does my dream job look like? That is totally okay. Okay. Most of us, including myself, when I was at the beginning of my career, I had really no idea what I wanted to do, right? So I had this college degree in economics, sort of commercial, general economics, but I had no idea what to do. So it's totally okay. Most of us don't just decide on a dream career and right out of university and go do that, right? So and even if you think about a job, it is not really unusual that at some point in your career you're changing your changing career, you're changing a job or going to do something completely different. That's totally fine, right? So don't blame yourself or, oh, I don't know what I want to do and I'm panicking now. That's totally okay. Now, the funny thing is, it would be very meaningful for you if you would be able to have some idea of how your career is going to look like, what type of jobs you're interested in, what type of companies you're interested in, or perhaps if you want to start your own company, it would be nice. And the whole idea of today is to give you some tips and insights and basically help you with a structure to determine better what it is that you like, what it is that you love, especially that, what it is that you're good at, so that the choice that you're going to make is actually one that is very close to you. Okay, so I'm going to discuss three big steps, so to speak. And the first step is analyze and find your strengths. Okay, and I think that's actually the most important step, to be honest. So because you need to understand what you're good at, you need to understand more about yourself. It's really powerful, and in fact you owe it to yourself as well, and that's totally okay, right? So just because you don't know what you want, it doesn't mean you don't know what you're good at, right? That it is totally okay to know what you're good at. And a great way to focus on that is to make a list of your strengths, if you can, right? And if you find it difficult to do that by yourself, ask a very good friend or somebody you work with if you already have a job, or somebody that you study with, somebody who knows you well, preferably not family, so a little bit more on the outside, and ask them what they believe are your strengths. Ask them what they find good about you. If you really want to play the big game, go find somebody who can help you with tests. There's self-analysis tests, personality tests out there. Some of them are actually even free online. I know there's a paid one, which is called Myers-Briggs. That's really an interesting personality test and a self-analysis or a self-assessment tool. Either way, take an active approach, right? Take an active look at what you're good at, and especially what makes your heart beat from a personal perspective. That's really powerful, okay? Now, what I want to say about that as well is that some say that you can become good in anything if you put your mind to it. I'm not sure if I believe that fully, because it might hurt yourself in a way that you need a lot of energy to do that. But either way, if you first show yourself and learn more about yourself, what you are good at, it can save you a lot of frustration and time and energy. And I'll give you an example about myself. I was 23. I was already working for a company called Hewlett-Packard. I had a commercial economics background. I had an administrative role, and my manager at the time was a big fan of financial economics. And I was 23, I was still very young. I really didn't know yet what to do. And he persuaded me to follow a post-college study, business economics. And I did it, and I hated it. It was totally not my thing, right? So I spent a year while working, studying on business economics, financial economics, and after a couple of months, I knew it was not my thing. So I had myself kind of fooled and influenced by my manager at the time, which was not really a good thing. So luckily, I had a study coach, and he helped me to shift towards commercial economics. I did the rest of that college, of that educational tour in commercial economics, and that was way more closer to my strength and my passion, right? So it was a good learning moment for me, and nothing happens for no reason. But if I would have known before I began that study that commercial economics was really the thing I wanted to be better at, and the thing that gave me energy, it would have saved myself a year of really frustration. So analyze and find your strengths. Now there's so much more behind this step, and I'm going to dig a little bit deeper in that strengths and what you're good at thing, and that relates to sidestep. If you want to know your strengths, you need to understand that it is time for you to kickstart your personal development journey, right? So the whole idea of personal development journey is, it's basically what's happening throughout your life. So it's developing yourself in a way that you live your life in the best possible way that you feel that you want to. But personal development is something typically that you do not often learn in college or in university. I hope that you speak about this topic. It's also called the art of living. Speak about this topic with colleagues, sometimes maybe even with teachers. But often it's not something that you see happening or being addressed in school. Personal development and your personal development journey basically covers all activities that are related to improving awareness, understanding your identity, develop your talents, know what your potential is or build your potential, build human capital, and facilitate, ultimately, because it's about career, employability, right? It's also about understanding, feeling, knowing, and understanding your personal motivation, your drive. And therefore, if you step on that journey, it will help you to ignite the passion that you have in you, right? Which means it ultimately results in, it improves the quality of your life, and it helps you to realize your dreams and aspirations. Now that's a big thing, right? And it's great because it's the best thing that you can do. If you call this the art of living, this is basically what life really is about. Just live, grow, develop yourself, learn new things, build your network. It's all about you, and it's all about your life. And that's totally cool. And the funny thing is, it doesn't only serve purpose in your professional life, in building a career, it helps you also in your personal life. For example, if you decide to become better in communicating with yourself, and therefore communicating with others, which is behavior, it benefits throughout your life, personal as well, right? Your relationships with the people you love, with your family, with friends will be better, will be richer. It enriches your life, right? So personal development, my first, I would say, advice to you is kickstart your personal development journey. And don't forget that personal development is definitely about yourself, but it's not just about yourself, right? It's just as much about helping others. What I'm doing here now is sharing my learnings over the years, sharing my advice, sharing my fallbacks, the things that I discovered, my experience, is personal development in optima forma. It's basically helping me to help others, right? So it's definitely not limited to yourself. The concept involves any type of activities, formal, informal, for helping others develop. And it's really cool to help others and to help others develop. It's really cool for yourself. Okay, next. We're still talking about strengths. We're still talking about knowing what you're good at. The second sidestep, the second big picture I want to discuss is mindset, right? Now, I hope you're all familiar with the concept of mindset. Let me explain it for those who don't. A mindset is basically the sum of your knowledge, the sum of your beliefs, the sum of the total of your thoughts about how you see the world, how you feel the world, and how you see yourself in that world. So it's basically your filter for how you get information and events, anything that happens, to get how you get that, how you land that, how you get that in yourself, and how you put it out. So it basically determines how you receive and respond to that information or data or events or anything that happens, right? Developing the right mindset is the way to learn something, right? That's also where the spin-off of mindset is growth mindset. Growth mindset is where you say, okay, I'm not taking things for granted. I know I have talent. I know I have intelligence. I know I have emotional intelligence. And as long as I set my mind to it, I can learn the thing I want to learn. But that is only if you know what you want to learn, right? Because otherwise you will probably drown. That's not a good thing. So it's your belief system. That is your mindset. And it is extremely important now at the end of your college journey, and you're about to, let's say, start thinking about a career development or pursuing a career. It's really important that you start giving yourself some attention on what this is for you. How does your mindset look like? How can you recognize the thoughts that you have, and how do you actually respond? Because behavior comes from mindset, and behavior comes from thoughts, and thoughts can become a reality, and that results in, for instance, communication. So there's so much more behind this. I only have 1 hour. I can speak about this topic for 10 hours, but I'm not going to do that. I just want you to realize that it's really important. Personal development journey is the big thing. Mindset plays a pivotal role in that. Okay. The next side step related to strengths and knowing yourself is you have to make sure that what you're going to do, and what you do now basically, but especially what you're going to do, is do what you love and love what you do. It's that simple, right? I'm a big fan of a guy called Alan Watts, a very famous British Western philosopher who based his whole, who dedicated his life to Buddhism and Eastern wisdom and philosophies, and he moved that into, let's say, Western European culture. Big fan. He said, ask yourself the question multiple times: what would you like to do if money played no role? Okay, how would you really enjoy spending your life? Right? Really, really important, because anything that you're going to pursue, if you cannot do that with love for what you're doing, and I literally say the word love, it's more than liking, right? Liking is nice, loving is necessity. You will be not as successful as you want to be. Okay, be very clear on that. Again, I can talk for hours about this topic. I'm not going to do that. I just want you to start thinking about, what do I really love to do? What do I really, what makes my heart beat faster when I wake up in the morning? Why do I get out of bed? What gives me pure, honest, human energy, right? If you feel these type of things, a lot is going to happen. So next, before you dive into what you're good at and perhaps even how you want to achieve that, is even more importantly, I don't want you to start pursuing a career and living your life just by accident, right? You don't deserve that. Fulfillment comes, there's happiness and there's fulfillment. Fulfillment comes when we live our lives on purpose, right? If you know what drives you, if you know your why, basically, it provides a filter for you. It's going to build that mindset is going to be so strong, and it provides that filter in your mindset in which you can make decisions every day to act with purpose, right? Because it might be a tough world out there, right? Also in Uzbekistan, also here. I mean, don't even mention COVID today, but without COVID, it's the working world is tough, right? You wake up, you go to work, you deal with your manager or your manager to be. You have to make money. You come home, you manage your personal life. You go to bed, you wake up and repeat. There's a lot to deal with, right? That's a lot to deal with. And you know what? You're wasting time if you're doing that just by accident. If you're doing that without knowing why you do the things you do. Because discovering your why, that's why I mentioned my why in the beginning as well, ignites passion into your life and also passion into your work. Because your work is a big chunk of your life, right? Any type of work, even if you would do voluntary work, or if you become a houseman or a house woman, stay at home, taking care of the kids, that's also work, right? The work is not necessarily something that you work for a company and you make money. That's also work, but there's plenty of things you can consider under the concept of work, right? So discovering your why, knowing why you do the things you do in life, ignites, injects passion in your work. And my honest belief is that if you bring words to your why, because we all have that in ourselves, that is the best tool possible. There's no better tool in your toolkit that is going to help you to achieve long-term fulfilling success and fulfilling life. And that's a big difference with happiness. Happiness is fine. You can find any form of happiness throughout your life with multiple things. The love from a child, that's all fine. Buying a car, buying a new house, that gives you happiness, but it's usually short term, right? That's not bad. I grant everybody as much happiness as you want, but living in accordance with your why, with your purpose, gives you fulfillment. And fulfillment, I guarantee you, it will bring you success. That results in money, and that's where you can actually start doing the nice things you want to do. Travel the world, buy a car, buy a house, raise your family, send your kids to college, university, whatever it is, right? Now, there's one other reason why I mentioned this. I said earlier, life can be tough, a work life can be tough, and we have to deal with so many things in our life and in our work and in our career, so many things, uncertainty, like now with COVID, pain, pain of family members or people who are close to you who get sick, sometimes they die, a lot of things, roadblocks in your career, right? A manager that doesn't do what you want him to do. You apply for a job and you fail, or they don't grant you the job because they've made a mistake. It all happens, right? So always remember, if you have a why, if you know why you do the things you do, you can endure anyhow, right? It provides you with a sense of meaning. It helps you to grow. It actually calls you to grow, right? It helps you to understand who you really are deep, deep inside. It guides you. It guides me. My why guides me every single day. And it keeps me focused on the things that I find most important, right? Obviously, it gives me power. And I don't mean the negative side of power, the hierarchical side of power. I mean the type of power that creates impact. and it helps me to inspire others. There's so many good things about why, and again, I can do a specific separate session on this topic alone. I'm not doing that. If you can mute yourself, please, for the dog, that would be nice. This is just the first understanding of the concept and an appeal to you to say, you know what, go start, figure it out. If you need help with this, we can do a separate session, Shahista. We can talk about that separately to share more on how you will be able to do that. But basically, it's really one of the best gifts you can give yourself in life. Promise, promise. One more thing. There's passion and there's purpose, right? There's purpose and there's passion. These are different things, and that's why I raised this here. I want to express the difference between the two. Now, the biggest difference is that your passion is for you, your purpose is for others, right? So when you use your passion in the service of others, it becomes a purpose. Okay, that's how the two connect. Passion generally makes you happy. Purpose makes others happy and brings you fulfillment, right? That's the connection. And I want you to think about these two separately. Start thinking about it, Google, learn more about it, become aware of the concept of passion and purpose, because you will deal with it. You will deal with it throughout your life. It's the connection between passion and purpose is basically your biggest power in life, right? Don't forget that. By the way, Shahista, there's still people joining. I hear the beeps all the time. Is it possible to mute the beeps? Shahista?
I'm not sure that we can mute that.
Okay, because I get distracted by the beeps all the time. Am I the only one who hears the beeps? Because then it's just me, and then it's fine.
You and me.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, cool. Okay, so to close off this, let's say this big picture, and we'll return to strengths in a minute. I'd like to share with you two thoughts, or let's say call it a piece of advice. So promise yourself throughout your life, when you are going to pursue your career, anything you do, grow with purpose and live your life, whether that's work or non-work, private, it's your life. Live your passion, right? Promise that to yourself. And because you just not just to be successful, because you deserve it, right? Really important. Let me see what the chats are saying. Thank you so much. Yeah, my pleasure. Okay, grow with purpose, live your passion, right? So start thinking about this concept. And even more important, well, I would say equally important, if you go to Instagram and if you read things on the internet, you hear a lot about you have to find yourself, you have to find your purpose, you have to find it, you have to search for that. Not really sure if I completely agree with that, but even if you do, always remember yourself, the big picture. It's not about finding yourself, because you are already yourself. So strictly spiritual, you are what you are. It's about creating the best version of yourself. And that's where purpose and passion are absolutely necessary for, right? If you do things without passion, if you don't know why you do the things you do, it will be impossible to create the best version of yourself. And that's fine if you don't want that. Nobody will harm you about it. Nobody will say you're not a good person because you don't want to grow, you don't want to develop yourself. That is totally fine, but make it a conscious decision. But I think of this group of 42 people right now, everybody is interested in growing, improving, progress. I'm pretty sure of that, right? So grant yourself, because you deserve it. It makes life much more beautiful and much more nice. Please mute yourself, please. Thank you. So back to step one, lead with your strengths. So there's a couple of things to provide you with some a structure, there's a couple of things that you can do. So first of all, you're going to buy yourself a journal, which is a notebook on paper. So not a laptop, not an iPad, not an iPhone or any mobile. Buy a journal for yourself and start writing down the things. And I can even help you with a separate set of questions. What makes you happy and fulfilled, right? So you're going to think about your purpose. You're going to understand what you are really passionate about. You want to understand how your mindset works, how that develops. That's all fine. What makes you happy and fulfilled? At the same time, a nice way of learning what you like or love and learning what you're good at is have a look at your hobbies, right? It's really interesting to dig deep into the hobbies that you really like to do or love to do and get something out of that. So in the first place, because it's something that you like to do. So it gives you an insight in what you find nice to do. But secondly, it is often the case that hobbies can actually be monetized. So if you are really good in something, which is a hobby, and ultimately, if you do things well, if you build a plan around it, if you're really passionate about it, you can actually start making money with a lot of your hobbies, right? Which means you might be so good in something, and you can turn it into a small company. And then the company will grow. It will be difficult, it will be challenging, but again, you know what you're doing, you know especially why you do that. So analyzing your hobbies, dig a little bit deeper into the hobbies that you like to do and understanding them better and what's behind it. If you think about skills, if you think about the things things you like to do. For instance, I have a hobby which is constructing plastic models, right? I don't have really a lot of time for that right now, but I've always done it throughout my life. Phases of where I did it, sometimes I didn't. And I learned that painting is really something that I like to do. Now, I don't have to monetize it, but I like to paint. So if I have to paint something in my house, I learned that because I have the hobby of building plastic models and paint them, I like actually painting the frames of the windows or the walls. It's just something that I like to do. Actually, I love to do it and I see results, which is really cool. So eventually, if I want to, I can monetize that because I can become a painter. I'm not doing that because I have other things, but that's totally fine. So do that. Now, obviously, don't forget to factor in what you're already good at, right? You know what you're good at. Write it down in your journal, make notes, and start thinking about it and living it. Okay? Another tip, another technique, how you would call it, that you can do is if you have an idea of your dream job, why don't you try to explain it to somebody as if that somebody would be a very young child, right? Which means you have to be really, how you say that? Use simple words. And the idea of this session is if you explain your dream job in really simple words that a 4-year-old will understand, you will better understand the basic components of that job, right? So if the child would then ask you, hey, what's so funny about your job? Or what's so cool, if they use the word cool, what's so cool about the job? What would you say then, right? So imagine yourself having that conversation. It helps you to understand the real basic things of what you think of a dream job. Next, you look into jobs that provide you with a similar feeling. So you take these basic components, this feeling that you answered that question from the 4-year-old, and you're going to look at job postings online, whatever it is, LinkedIn, whatever way, and you are reading the job posting and you're waiting, you're checking if you get a similar feeling of what you had when you explained the story about your dream job when you read the posting, right? Sort of mimic the feelings that you have, right? So I'll give you an example. If you like to travel and you're really passionate about traveling and you want to monetize that in a certain way, look at jobs that kind of mirror that experience, right? So think of, read a job posting from, for instance, a tour guide or a teacher in another country, or a flight attendant, right? Okay, with COVID, it's not the best time to join an airline and work as a flight attendant, but this is just the idea. So if you like to travel, see what you can do to monetize it and make it better. Another example, if you are really fond of nature, you want to be outside, a hobby is to be in nature, be outdoor, for sports, for walking, for hiking, biking, whatever it is, look for jobs, for instance, to see if you can mimic that feeling. Look for jobs as geologist or biologist, or even guides, wilderness guides or park rangers, right? Just to give you an idea, mimic that feeling and see what it does with you. This is only researching, right? This is only doing. So then you research what's good about that job and what's not so good. Sometimes there can be all kinds of pros, but also some cons to the job. For instance, you have to live somewhere else, or it requires more education. Next step, maybe, maybe not, right? So give that some thought as well. And don't forget, although it should never be primary, your decision, factor in your financial needs, okay? It's really important to do that. So don't make it too big. Don't focus on money alone. I'll come back to that in a minute. But it is okay to understand that you have obligations. Perhaps you have a family already to take care of, or when you want kids. So there's some things behind that. So it's good to discuss that with yourself, or discuss it with colleagues and with students and friends. Next step, setting yourself up for success. Wow, time is going so fast. Steps. If you've had jobs in the past, evaluate these jobs. If it's, for instance, school jobs or student jobs, evaluate them. Give some thoughts on and clarify feelings on the jobs that you've done. What did you like about it? What did you like about the company? How was your manager or team leader doing? What did you not like about them? How were the people I work with? Colleagues, what was happening? The things that I really had to do, did it give me a form of fulfillment or pleasure that I did, right? It helps you to understand better, relate to this step, helps you to understand better what the characteristics of a job or a career are actually are. Look at job postings again, but now you focus on the requirements, right? So look at the job that you imagine yourself doing. Look at the requirements. So do a basic search for positions. Use LinkedIn, Glassdoor. There's so many online tools. You know online tools better than I do probably, and that's all fine. Look at the requirements. What are the basic requirements? What are the additional requirements necessary? What is actually the benefit for you to move into a job like that? How does it fit in your personal development journey? How does it fit in if you know that the reason why you want to do the things you do? So give that some good thoughts and write it down in your journal, because that's going to help you to build clarity, and it's all about clarity. Now, one of the best advices I can give you, talk to professionals, talk to people if you can find them, build a network, obviously, that comes later as well. Talk to people who already have these type of jobs or who have had similar jobs in a different setting. Give them some attention. So send them a LinkedIn message if you don't know them. Most people are willing to share their experience with you as a let's say late student, early career seeker. They're really willing to do that. That's all fine. And the best advice I would give in this stage is find a career mentor or a coach. There's somebody out there who can help you with it. Really important. You don't have to do it alone. Okay. Now, always be learning. A big thing that is personal development in general, but throughout your career, you're adopting a growth mindset, right? You look at requirements, you look at things, knowledge, competencies, skills, motivational aspects, mindset build. Look at things you need to learn, right? It's totally okay that you don't have it yet, but it's okay to keep an eye out, to have an open mind towards learning, not just in the beginning of your career, throughout your career. And it ends when you stop with working. It basically ends when you stop living, then you stop learning. So continue to do that. In the meantime, try to add as much experience to your resume as possible, preferably experience that is related to the career you have in a view on, or the job you have a view on. If not, any type of experience, right? If it's voluntary work, if it's a student job, any type of experience says something to somebody else about what it is that you bring to the table. Build your network throughout your throughout your career. Try to build a network. Focus on LinkedIn. It's not about the number of connections in LinkedIn, but see if you can add connections in LinkedIn that are meaningful to build your network, and again, to reach out to them, talk to professionals, and learn about how they did it. And one more time, factor in your financial needs, right? Setting yourself up for success, you need to repeat that, okay, financial needs, again, not the biggest, not priority one, hopefully, but still really important to consider that again. And also, there's more to that. It determines what you are worth, right? You are worth a lot. So it's totally fine that not just looking at it from a needs perspective, but also from a want perspective, right? What is actually my worth in the market? It's totally okay to do that. Third step, landing a job and fuel your career. I need a sip of water. So the structure towards, let's say, the third step, landing the job, fuel your career, to provide you some structure with some steps that I think are meaningful to follow up. Obviously, take the initiative, or if you have the initiative, keep it, be very proactive, right? Now, anything you do beforehand in the first two steps and what you do actually today in your study and all that, that's technically also taking an initiative, right? But just make sure that it doesn't stop, right? So don't be the ex-student who says, okay, here's my diploma. Now I'm going to sit behind lazy on a chair and wait for something to happen. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating here. It's not happening then, right? So be very proactive. Secondly, you can sometimes look at the top of the mountain, but don't forget to look at the road that you need to follow to reach the top of the mountain, okay? So be willing to work your way up. There's no way in the world that your first job or the first step in your career is already the top of the mountain, right? It's gonna take time, tremendous amount of work, dedication, resilience. That's why it's so important to understand why you do the things you do. It's gonna be a massive investment in yourself and an investment from the company, if you join a company or an organization, in you. That's also fine, right? Focus on the path and be willing, you must be willing to work your way up. It doesn't come for nothing. Now, create a killer resume. You are all creative people, I reckon. Totally okay. Make a resume that stands out. And I would also say make a resume that people feel, right? So don't just make a resume with an overview of what you've done. No, make a resume of what you stand for, what you believe in, what your why is, if you have that by then. That's how you stand out, right? It must be engaging. If you think about a letter to accompany your resume, make it engaging, make it interesting for the reader to look at, right? And of course, don't forget personal contact in combination with your resume is always better than just sending a letter, right? So if you see a LinkedIn posting and it's a nice job, it fits you, before you send any resume or letter, contact the recruiter or the hiring manager. Try to establish contact by phone, see what happens. That's usually already standing out. Now, obviously, find places to apply. Now, I don't have to say anything to you about online. These days, online it happens. So use LinkedIn, any other job search sites. Again, I would prefer LinkedIn and Glassdoor, but there's probably local in Uzbekistan and surroundings, there's local job sites as well. don't overdo, right? So focus on just 2 or 3 that you find most interesting. Don't overdo, because you'll drown, because then it will not be as powerful. Again, contact recruiters directly, right? Not just sending them the resume, but a direct approach is really interesting. They like that. They like the fact that they've been called by you, and you take that proactive attitude, and that's really powerful. And after COVID, perhaps in your country now already, if there is a job fair or a career event, pay a visit. Go out there, meet other people, build your network. It's a beautiful thing. Now, sometimes it can be handy to bring good references to table. Sometimes companies and organizations ask for references, right? So if you would be able, have 1 or 2 references available. You don't have to share them immediately. Just have them in your pocket, a name and a phone number in a title, but just make sure that the references are some form related to the job, right? If it's a reference of a job, of somebody in a job that has nothing to do with your new job or your career, not really that powerful. So that's fine, but nice to have, but it doesn't really serve any purpose. So if you want and you have a good reference, keep it in the back, save it, and use it when appropriate. If you don't have references, totally fine. You're at the beginning of your career. Just be transparent about it. Just say, no, I don't really have references. I'm at the beginning of my career. Totally fine, right? Don't lie about it. That doesn't make sense. That was already done. Add experience to your resume. That was the previous one. And then ace your interview, right? So prepare yourself for an interview. If you land an interview, just make sure, and I think everybody understands this step, that when you show up, you're going to be incredible, right? So dress up in the best way possible that suits the setting, that suits the environment, that suits the situation, and prepare yourself with a list of questions that you have. Prepare yourself with questions that they can come up with, right? So there's so many things you can find on the internet that will help you to prepare yourself and learn. Obviously, makes sense. Learn about the company or the organization that you're going to talk to. So understand what they're doing, understand what is important to them. Look at their business goals, or public sector, look at their organizational goals, right? That makes sense. But the key is ace it. Prepare yourself the best possible way. So I would say that would be my 3 big steps. Again, there's so much more to share behind it, but we only have an hour, and I'd like to close off for a little bit of Q&A. A couple of things related to the key to success. Now, I thought about this because it's really hard to do that in just a couple of minutes. Let's say 3 things. Okay, I'll add a couple more. Sorry, Jesta, but I can't. I have to share this.
Okay.
First of all, ego, right? So don't choose a career based on your ego, right? It can be very tempting to find a job where what your ego wants, which is mostly related to money, status, and power. It's very tempting. Many people before you have done that, right? But it's not a path that you really want, because it's not going to be satisfying for very long, right? It might bring you some happiness. You'll land a job, and I've done it too in the past. One time, it really is not really working well, and you might feel extremely hyper and happy because you land a job where you make money, and your ego says, wow, you make more money than your friends. Wow, that's cool. Look at this. They're paying me 20% more than most of my friends. Nice, but it's not something that is going to stick, right? So choose a job that is aligned with your passion, your power. Choose a job that is aligned with your purpose and other things that are meaningful to you. Okay, somebody's drawing a triangle in blue. That's beautiful. So that's a creative person. I like that. Don't choose a career based on ego. don't choose a career based on other people, right? It can really be hard, but there's pressure from other people. Family who says, oh, you need to do that, or a friend, or somebody who already works says, okay, this is the best for you. And they don't even know what's best for you because they don't really know you that well. So try to stay away. And I know it's not always easy. There's sometimes family related. There's fathers who say specific things. I want you to do that. And I get it. Pressure comes up, but you have to be really careful about that, because ultimately it is not your decision and it should be your decision. And also don't take a job based on availability alone, right? Sometimes when you must have a job for reasons of surviving, making money, sometimes that happens. But throughout your career, don't make a decision just, oh, because it's available. It's not going to be enough, okay? So that's what I would say. Key to success. Next, talent is not enough. So in my belief, there's two things that are extremely important in career success, in pursuing career success. The first thing is find a job and do work that really matters. Matters to yourself, it's meaningful to yourself because you learn, because you develop, but also matters to others, right? So think about, if you think about your purpose and think about these things like your why, it should be also about helping others throughout your life. That's what makes life beautiful and gives you fulfillment. Do work that matters. And if you find a job, always dig deep on how powerful the job is for others. What's the impact of the job that you're doing, right? It helps you to stay motivated, and motivation drives success, I guarantee you. And be very confident, right? It's not so easy, but you should be very confident, and you earn it. You earn it to yourself, because without confidence, your talent will not shine, right? It's really difficult to shine your talent, to show your talent, if you're not feeling confident about it. Without confidence, you won't be able to speak up for yourself. And you have to. It's a tough world out there, right? Your career, you will deal with a lot of people who want different things. So you need to be confident, not arrogant, but confident. And you have to be able to speak up with yourself and to yourself. Without confidence, I would say it will be difficult to pursue career opportunities. The mind plays a powerful game. If the mind says to you, nah, you can't do that, you will immediately shut yourself down for some opportunities that are out there. You will just simply not see them. The mind plays a powerful game, right? That's why mindset counts. And more importantly, we started this with a song. It's called You Got to Believe. If you have no confidence, it will be very difficult to believe in yourself, right? How do you do that? You need to find somebody who can help you with that, a coach or a mentor or a very good friend if you lack confidence. Work with that coach, work with that person on identifying where it comes from, right? Start understanding yourself better. Obviously, do the things in the first step that I explained. Think about your passion, think about what you're good at, look at why you do the things you do. That helps as well. But you have to grow your awareness on where that lack of confidence comes from. And for instance, you can make a list of what you are capable of, what you have already done. Often we don't see the things we have done, and often we don't see the difference we make in other people's lives or in our own life. And just by writing it down, it really helps us. So take a good look and see what you're really good at, what you have accomplished, even in high school or in college or in university, right? What have you done for others in university that you kind of forgot? Write it down and then compare it with what others do. That's totally fine. More to say on that topic if you want, but for now, this is just getting to know that you need to understand that. Now, before I close off, 4 important rules throughout your career. Be strong, but not rude. Be kind, but not weak. Be humble, but not timid. That's going to kill you to be timid. And be proud, but not arrogant. Okay? Don't forget that. The future is yours. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. So Believe in yourself, believe in your path, understand your career path with the steps I just explained. Press on with your purpose, press on with your passion. And then I will know you will take that responsibility. You will be the master of your own internal voice. You will use your talent and you will get these opportunities. I promise you, the future is yours. Don't forget that. That's it, Shahista. Right on time. There's a couple of minutes for Q&A.
We have a question from Sevinch Ravshanova. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes. Let's introduce myself. I'm from Uzbekistan. I studied World War language in Uzbekistan, and our teachers talk about the critical thinking, but they are not explaining us totally. How can we improve our critical thinking?
What do you mean by critical thinking?
Yes, can you explain that completely? I don't understand.
I don't know the context in how they see critical thinking, to be honest. If that's related to critical thinking about understanding yourself, or is it related to critical thinking about solving a problem? I should know the context of critical thinking before I can say anything about it. If it's related to yourself, I always say critical thinking, and I don't really like the word because it's kind of negative, but I would say critical thinking for me, if it relates to myself, means what can I do to understand myself better? What can I do to understand what I stand for, what I'm good at, what I know? And that's what I explained in the lecture earlier. It's really hard for me without the context of critical thinking to see that, to relate to that. So you should give more context then, and we can do that separately if you want. But you can go back to the teacher. You can go back to the teacher and ask what they.
Maybe it's related to us. So how we can improve that? They explain us. We can read magazines, newspapers, but can you offer alternative way?
Yeah, there's if you relate it to that. So the alternative way is of when reading books, when looking at YouTube clips, you get to learn things. That's knowledge, right? But if you relate critical thinking to yourself, the best thing you can do with yourself is ask yourself questions. So question everything you think. So if you have a thought about something, ask yourself the question, where did this thought come from? What happened that I actually have this thought? So basically it's mindset related. Critical thinking for yourself means ask yourself a question if you have an opinion about something, right? We tend to have a lot of opinions about things, about others, things in our life. Look at social media. I think we discussed that the other day in the session with the project, Shahista. When you have an opinion about something, you find something about something, ask yourself, is it really necessary that I have an opinion about this? Does it really help me to have an opinion? That's what I would consider to be critical thinking. So questionize everything you think and everything you find. I hope that answers.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that answers the question a bit.
We have one more question, and that's about career mentor. You told that to find a career mentor or career coach, can we do it instead like watching YouTube, interviews? Would they be helpful the same? Like, can we benefit at the same? I mean the same. Because not many people can find career coaches and mentors here in Uzbekistan because it's not very famous, and many people don't know what they do and how can they help.
Well, yeah, it is great to go on YouTube and listen to lectures or TEDx talks from successful people. That's totally fine. it's just not the only thing I would recommend, right? It's okay, but if you find somebody and a mentor or a coach, you can look at it from a formal perspective, but you can also look at it from an informal perspective. But what adds, if you speak with somebody personally, that person will help you to relate to you specifically. And if you look at a YouTube clip or a YouTube video, it's you get some inspiration, but then you have to apply it to your situation. And somebody you speak with, and again, it doesn't have to be a formal, expensive executive coach. It can be anybody you meet. For instance, if you start somewhere in working and you find somebody who has 10 years or 15 years experience, that can also be a mentor, right? It doesn't have to be that formal, and that's totally fine. But I would also combine it. I would always combine it with a personal attention, because books, YouTube clips are really nice. It's just not personal enough to apply it in your own life. You will find people. If you open up your mind, you will find people who are going to help you. And if you need some help with that, reach out to me separately, then I can tell you more what to do. Okay?
This question was from Hassan. Hassan, I hope that was useful. And we have one more question, and I'm afraid that would be the last one. We have many questions which we can send later.
Yeah, we'll do that separately. Yeah.
The last question is from Hadiatullah, and that is, what are the things that encourage us and help us to get better?
Well, the things that encourage you to get better is basically your belief system. It's that simple, right? If you want to be successful, if you want to achieve something, which can be success, which can be sometimes ultimately a money goal or a job that you want, you will find the power within you to actually start working on that, to actually, what do I need to do to make it happen? And that's where you will end up in a learning mode. It's that simple. It's your belief system. If you don't have that, you will stick to regular, live your life by accident. Not a lot will happen. And then, okay, but that's it. You don't deserve that. You deserve to live the best version of your life. But you must believe it and you must want it. Okay.
Dennis, yeah, it was such a great presentation. On behalf of everyone, I would like to thank you for taking your time and joining us, and for this awesome presentation. We are receiving many questions here, and many people are thanking you for this presentation because it was really essential and helpful. I do hope to see you on our next sessions.
Sure, I'm happy to talk about other topics that you want. We can, for instance, look at communication and mindset a little bit more deeper. I can do another lecture in the new year on mindset, growth mindset, and communication. Some of the things that I also did in the session with the project, but helps you to understand how to build a mindset. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn and my Instagram is below. If you look at my Instagram, sometimes I post ideas, topics, things there as well. So I regularly share stuff on that in English. So you don't have to be afraid that it's in Dutch. You don't have to learn Dutch for that. So connect with me on LinkedIn if you want. Look at Instagram, follow me, or look at my account. I don't mind. And I will reach out to somebody specifically who asked for it. And I will answer the questions. So Shaista will send me the questions. Then I will answer these questions to you all. And again, if you feel any need or interest in a specific topic related to personal development, career, job, coaching, whatever it is, let me know. Happy to help you.
Thank you again. I wish you all the best.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.
See you. Bye-bye. And Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for joining us. see you on our next sessions with Dennis von Soest. And you are lucky to meet him today. Thank you very much and good luck to you all.